they're convoying, as is the Canadian Rebellious Way, over to the ostrich farm. And I guess the ostrich farm, this is going international. We've got the ostrich farm inviting Robert F. Kennedy and Elon Musk out to see the birds.
That's right. And I don't know. I don't know what to expect. The Americans seem to know what's up. They seem to see an interest. They're taking an interest in these birds, in particular the research. Whereas Canada, so-called elbows up and so-called going to keep our economies first, wants to literally kill this therapeutic research. I did put a clip up recently of Robert Kennedy Jr. explaining even before, he did do the letter to the CFIA saying, please, let's collaborate together on the science, where he said very clearly they're moving away from vaccines. They don't want to do what he called leaky vaccines, meaning if you can't, totally essentially cure these birds from getting the virus, then he says they can become mutation factories. So he's very interested. In that interview with Fox News back in March, he said that they are looking for therapeutics. That just happens to be the exact research that this farm located in BC, Canada, there's that interview there, is already set up to be doing had they not been stuck in this quarantine for months and facing imminent death to their flock. So you have the Americans seeing, I think, the prosperity and perhaps the health aspect as well, of course. And then you have Canada killing it. And to just add to that, the Americans also just defunded. They just halted $700 million worth of funds to Moderna for working on an mRNA avian flu vaccine. Okay, so they are funding that and trying to get these ostriches, trying to save these ostriches. So that says a whole lot for our Canadian government, who claims to care so much about avian flu and putting our economy first when they want to shut this farm and their animals down.
Now, tell us, the police presence, we saw the police sort of show up was it already last week when you were there? I think they were there to just sort of case the joint, to take the temperature, to see, like, are these just peaceful hippies? Yes. Or is this like a weaponized militia to save the ostriches? And I think we all know what they found is nothing but just peaceful people who see the ostriches as a flashpoint for freedom. I can't believe I said that sentence. But the RCMP have come back, have they not?
They have been back multiple times. Now, let's not forget, while the farmers and protesters slept, somebody, and while I was sleeping there, somebody went and killed an ostrich in the middle of the night, despite all the volunteer security surrounding the property. So that was something that the RCMP came back for. And then they came back just 2 days ago doing the same kind of thing. They're saying, we're just here to talk. And I don't know if we have the clip of Katie Pasitny's very fair question. If we could play a little bit of that. If not, just let me know. I'll put it in right now. But she asked them, why is it that when they have an actual crime happening, where someone is murdering their ostriches, their healthy ostrich, because this is the second one, they're getting next to no investigation of that, a potential threat that could expand. But yet so many RCMP officers are being deployed out to check on these peaceful protesters on private property.
Right. Not you guys, but the ostrich farmers are the victims of a crime, not the criminals.
Yeah, we can just play.
I know the last time you guys were here, you mentioned that it got mentioned in the CBC and everything too, that you guys were doing like just checking for criminal activity and
like criminal. We're just here to talk to you guys.
Well,
that's what he's for.
Yeah. Okay. I'll address any crime stuff that's happening, but we're not. These guys aren't here to. They're not enforcing.
Yeah. So I mean, I know you by our awesome conversations because you're a great guy. You all are, for sure. But like these guys are super understaffed. There's like two of them running everywhere. And so then we have an incident where we had the ostrich it was executed, and I don't know if it's a shot, if it's we don't know, right? It's entry and exit, clear. But we have, so the same day you were here, that evening we had something happen that was quite important. And then there's nobody to be found though. So we're deploying resources from, you're Surrey?
I work out of Lower Mainland.
Yeah. Your
Headquarters, Surrey.
headquarters, yeah. Where are you from?
Maple Ridge.
Maple Ridge.
Yes.
At cusp. Yeah. So we have all these deployed resources here today to do a wellness check, but we have no investigation yet. There's been no headway on that investigation. There was no bullet looked for. The head wasn't looked for. Or looked at. There's been no, so if we are really looking for something wrong, I just don't understand how we're using all these resources to come here today for all these, like everybody being peaceful, happy. The ostriches' health hasn't changed. They're all doing well. A phone call could have did that. Yeah. And these guys and that's not your fault. And it's not even that they're understaffed. And so what gives us that security that something happens, just like it was a local? It had nothing to do with the people here. We had a local that had some issues, and we needed to call him right away back because he was here because we called him down for the ostrich that was killed. And he had to rip back because we had an issue with the local. But they're understaffed. We called them again. We've had drones, right? Drones are flying all over. That's a big concern. This is a no-fly zone. This is our animals. They're flying only at night. There's lights going off on them. We don't know what they are. And now we have all these amazing deployed resources. I mean, we appreciate you, but why are you here today for the wellness check, but you're not here for the actual issues that we're having?
And what is a wellness check? I want to know that second.
Yeah, let me address that one first. This is not a wellness check. So for policing and wellness checks and that whole term, you'll hear it a lot in the media.
Yeah.
That's checking on somebody's well-being.
Okay.
Whether it's the family hasn't heard from them in 7 days or whatever, or they may have made some comments that they need help, mental health issues. This is PLT's role, is just to engage in times of conflict. And let's face it, this is a conflict. And that's our role. That's why we're there to
forth the exact same way. And when they came the first time, the narrative that it was a wellness check is what happened. That is,
right.
I mean, Katie said several times that they had told her it was a wellness check, and they never once interfered. So they never said it wasn't. So I don't know. I was running there, so I didn't catch the very beginning of that conversation. But that was such a good and important question. They have RCMP from all over British Columbia coming down to this very peaceful private farm. And then someone is coming around and killing the ostriches. And, sorry, can't really look into that.
Yeah. And I frankly don't blame the cops. I remember during the police perpetually showing up to Grace Life Church west of Edmonton, and I was there for weeks. I am not Protestant, but I spent more time in that Protestant church than I did in my own for like 10 weeks. And you could tell the cops just didn't want to be there at all. And you could tell that one cop didn't really want to be there. But I would much rather the cop that didn't want to be there show up than the cop who was like eager to go bust some heads at Ostrich Fest. Yeah. I would rather the reluctant cops be the ones there than the ones who are real gung-ho to murder some birds.
Exactly. And I think on the last note is I am going to be positioning myself somewhere. Rest assured, there's also a protest planned in Abbotsford outside of the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. So as far as I see, the convoy looks a little small. And like I said, I'm going to go when I think it's possible those birds might be culled or there's a victory.
Right.
So I think I might end up in Abbotsford at the CFIA today. Either way, stay tuned at savetheostriches.com. And if you want to support our ongoing coverage to be very locked into this important issue, please do so there as well.
There you go. Dre Humphrey, Canada's ostrich journalist of note.
No more memes.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about Alberta independence? What do you think about Alberta trying to get a better deal within Canada? Do you think Alberta should have the right to vote in a referendum to separate, the same way Quebec did? There's a lot of things to talk about. Can Canada be fixed, or has the West tried that, done that, been there, and it's just not working? Well, we're going to talk about all these things in an amazing day-long conference in Red Deer, the heart of Alberta, on Saturday, June 14th. Go to donegetingscrewed.com to get your tickets now. It's going to be a full day. We'll start with a continental breakfast. We'll have panel discussions. We'll have keynote speakers. We'll even have a debate. I think that's going to be the highlight of it. David Legg, former advisor to the Alberta government, is going to make the case for Canada. Keith Wilson, lawyer, freedom activist, he was with the Freedom Convoy. He'll be making the case for independence. We'll have other people in the debates, a media panel, and people of different points of view, including different political parties. There's going to be a bit of a trade show there too. So we'll serve you 2 meals, but more than that, we'll serve you ideas you just can't get anywhere else. But it's coming up quick, and I promise you this event will sell out. There's only room for 1,000 people. And I know that there have been 1,000-person meetings about this subject all over the province. In fact, we had an event in Calgary that sold out in 2 days when we had only 350 seats. So don't be disappointed. Go to donegetingscrewed.com and get your tickets now. I'll be there. Sheila Gunn-Reid will be there. So many interesting people. Our friends in other media companies like Western Standard, Juno News, and Counter Signal. It's going to be a great day. That's Saturday, June 14th in Red Deer, Alberta, all day long. Go to donegetingscrewed.com to get your ticket now. Don't wait. I don't want you to be locked out. It's going to be full. See you there. That's donegetingscrewed.com.